It's sometimes difficult to ascertain how frequently you should be doing internal meetings to make it valuable, how we run them and document them, and who needs to attend. In XP surveys, we have a team internal meeting with everyone in the team, including directors, to run through everything in the business that's changing or progressing to where we need to be. A weekly team meeting is really important in XP surveys because we might be doing 5 to 10 surveys in a week, whereas actually in Central Suites or maybe XP Property, weekly is way too frequently. What we like to do with all of our teams and businesses is kind of give them full exposure on all the business stuff as well, the sales and marketing, operations, finance, and the team, so that in those team meetings, they can understand the bigger picture and what's going on and what we're planning to be doing over the next period. We've had quite a few projects coming to an end in Central Suites and also in XP, and it was also sort of bringing all the teams together. It's sometimes difficult to ascertain how frequently you should be doing internal meetings to make it valuable, how we run them and document them, and who needs to attend. And we're massive believers that in the big corporate world, it's quite frequently that it's known that there's all these people in around a room just to look busy, and actually all those people are not required there. Where I feel like where we have quite a dynamic movement in our businesses, we only get the people that's relevant on that particular topic or that particular call to come on that call, and everyone isn't part of everything. So to give you an example of what internal meetings would look like, so in XP surveys, we have a team internal meeting with everyone in the team, including directors, to run through everything in the business that's changing or sort of progressing to where we need to be. As a weekly team meeting, we look at the jobs that are coming up, jobs that we've done, and that is a good example of almost like a check-in so that everyone's on the same page. Now, a weekly team meeting is really important in XP surveys because we might be doing 5 to 10 surveys in a week, whereas actually in Central Suites or maybe XP Property, weekly is way too frequently. Not really a lot changes in a week, and actually everyone can go into their own sort of segregated groups, communicate about legals, exchanges, sales, construction, planning, whatever it may be, funding, and then that we sort of deviate into our own particular groups. So an internal meeting like weekly team meetings is judged on sort of the frequency of the business and what the business needs, not how frequently you want to necessarily check in. And you can always obviously increase the amount of frequency or reduce depending on how you feel it's going. Like for an example, over summer, you might actually say, look, let's leave it till next week or whatever it may be. So frequency is a really important thing to consider. What we like to do with all of our teams and businesses is kind of give them full exposure on all the business stuff as well, the sales and marketing, operations, finance, and the team, so that in those team meetings, they can understand the bigger picture and what's going on and what we're planning to be doing over the next period, which is also relevantly important. The photo there is actually our quarterly review that we do with all the businesses, all under one roof, and go through everything in all the businesses, where we were, where we are, where we're going. And that quarterly kind of does more strategic, blue sky, take a step back, look at it from the outside. And again, we have to quite cleverly make sure that they're routinely done frequent enough that new starters get a bit of an understanding of the bigger picture. People that have been in the trenches digging and don't know where the sort of visionary point is and need to take a step back and go, actually, I have been working my ass off for a few months, but I understand, the bigger picture and what we're working towards. Because if, a team member feels that there's an overweighted amount of work on them, that's not sustainable unless there's a vision and a cause for that. So there are other types of internal meetings that we do frequently, but as I mentioned, the frequency between businesses, depending on how transactional they are, may vary. When I used to work in a sales office, we used to have a group team meeting every Monday, then a team meeting every morning, and then a one-to-one with, potentially someone in your team as a buddy up every day. So it all depends on sort of the ergonomics of the business and how that works.
If you're getting value from this video, please subscribe down below, but do us one bigger favor and share it with just one person you think will get value from this. Thank you very much. Back to the video.
And then when it comes down to who attends, I believe that if it impacts or they have impact on that particular project or that particular topic, they need to be part of it. But don't just bring people in because you like chatting to them and they could have a look and see what it's like. During a training spell of people getting an understanding of all areas of the business, different, very different. It's really healthy for other team members to sit in on other team meetings while they're learning. But I would highly recommend cutting out the fat and making sure people that don't need to attend, don't attend. attend, because you just end up with constantly people in meetings that they're not necessarily potentially needed for. So the way that we do that in Central Suites is we'll have a project meeting and then we'll roll into a business meeting straight after, but not everyone in the business meeting attends the project meeting because they don't really need to know about what structural drawings need to be drawn for an archway when they're managing the lettings of the business. So it's making sure the right people attend at the right time. And how to run these, we typically allocate however long we need for that particular meeting. Definitely, I would recommend that if it is a short, sharp meeting, definitely try and have less time if possible, because you would just fill the time. It amazes me still how people just put in an hour for everything. I would recommend putting the meeting in for 30 minutes, but then having a 30-minute buffer afterwards. The person that gets the invite knows that you've only got 30 minutes. But how we run through this is we often use our project management tool, whether that's Asana or Monday.com, and we go through the agendas and the notes of the business. But we have also now just gone back to the old school of taking hard notes on a Word document, which is on a shared screen. We'll go through all the business elements that we need to go through, and then we will then go through the project elements that we need to go through too. And then hopefully off the back of that, every individual, one, has a really good top scope of everything that's going on, but also their own to-do list of what they need to be achieving until the next weekly or monthly team meeting. And essentially what you're doing as a director or a founder of a company is sometimes difficult to, I often find that the principal rule of delegation or allowing to delegate, sometimes delegation isn't as clean as you go do that task. But if you give people more exposure to what's going on, it gives them more opportunity to take on more responsibility naturally. And that's sometimes difficult as a business owner. You're thinking, I'm too busy, I can't sit in that meeting and talk about carpet design and this, that, and the other. But if you actually go in and give them more autonomy and decision-making power, you may find that being part of that internal meeting saves you hours throughout the week and then has a positive impact on your diary too. So that's all I would say, that is sometimes difficult to go, right, let's jump on an hour and just go through it. But off the back of that, you can sort of divvy up tasks. Everyone knows what they're doing. There's more clarity. The last thing a team member wants is to have a responsibility but not understand how they need to do that. You always want to give them the tools so that they can just crack on and do it.
Something that we discuss at Property Entrepreneur is having a quite a rigid structure during the week as to how you operate those meetings. So if you are managing and overseeing a team, on the Monday you might have your setup. So it's, what's coming up in the week, what's the key things that need to get done. Middle of the week you have a check-in. So a quick check-in, how's things going? Do you need any help? Is there anything that we need to provide for you in order to meet those targets that we set at the beginning of the month? And then a Friday sort of sign off. Have you achieved everything? If not, what's dragging into next week? What do we need to do to jump straight on it on a Monday morning? So set up, check in, sign off. I find that's quite a useful thing to do.
If you got value from this video, make sure you click the subscribe button down below and ring the notification bell, because we release one video at least every week, so be the first to get notified. See you on the next one.